It is Dandadan, a show based on Dandadan, where we talk about the Dundadums. This week's episode was full of charm, the funnies, and we even got to see MAID Momo along with a ton of foreshadowing for the future. And generally, details you could have missed so easily. I mean, it was just a fantastic setup episode with a really important message that I know I'm going to try to live by. That's right, I'm becoming a Moe MAID. The episode starts off by kicking into high gear by picking up where we last left off, with Momo dousing Gigi in hot water. What I loved about this is how the entire time Turbo Granny is spanking Gigi and just madly pissed off. Seriously, Turbo Granny is such a mood. Which is also funny because Seiko is just so calm and collected while Ira is being her usual self by getting super mad at her beauty sleep being ruined. Ugh. I just loved the showcase of all of these personalities and how each of them react in their own ways and how they clash too. Everyone is pretty much pissed besides Momo, Okarun, and Seiko, who generally speaking have a leveled head about the whole ordeal, but this is when we are introduced to a visual kei, I believe is what this genre is called, band. I love these guys. The moment I saw them, especially the bassist and this gorgeous looking drummer, the bassist in particular, woo, fantastic. He is forbidden from speaking and immediately breaks his G-string, which is funny because as a bass player, you really only need E, A, and D. So no idea why he even bothered to string it up. Probably a good thing it broke though, now he's a real bass player. Also, holy crap! What? We got a Back to the Future reference in a show aimed at teenagers and young adults who probably won't get it anyways? Let's go! Generally speaking, though, these guys are total goofballs until they actually start playing, which compels everyone to headbang violently because it is just so good. Oh, and yes, it is so good. They are even able to summon the spirits in the area as like an audience to simulate a raving crowd. And honestly, you want to know my truth? This entire sequence was actually insane and went above and beyond everything I'd hoped it could be. Wincy and Swaru moment again, my friends. I think we get like at least one or two of these per episode, and during the song, Evil Eye tries his best to fight until Gigi begs them to not kill Evil Eye and keep him inside of his body. And it is all because Gigi is the only person who really gets where Evil Eye is coming from and the promise that he made to him. It is heartfelt and sends shivers through my rotted and decaying heart. The detail of him crying, though, while being held down and Momo's shock on her face as she feels everything Gigi is was just, dude, it was so intense along with the music playing in the background. Honestly, I wasn't gonna cry, but I felt if it went on any longer, there could have been tears. It really felt like at that moment I was being just overwhelmed by the emotions of the music, the emotions of Evil Eye, the emotions of Gigi and Momo experiencing it all together. Also, big shout out to Kisho Taniyama, who did the vocals for this song, by the way. He has been around for decades now and even did the Japanese voice for Fred in Scooby-Doo. Also voiced Warble in Freerin, which is a really cool detail. So Seiko calls it off because Seiko likes that kind of spirit in Gigi to promise to do better and keep away from cold water. And while Ira protests because she is self-centered at heart, everyone else is inspired by the words of Okarun to become stronger and support one another. I like the way Ira was positioned here because while self-centered, it showed the others' tenacity to not give up on one another and act as a unit rather than individually, per se. Which is why it is important when Seiko says she will welcome Evil Eye into her family that she goes through with that, because that is what this is. This is a family of misfits that are all being guided by the caring, nurturing, and wisdom of a hot busty granny who looks amazing with her hair down and also haphazardly put up. Oh my god, such wife material. Also, real talk, is Seiko the moral compass of Dandadan? Because more and more, it feels less like the kids are guiding that, and it is more about Seiko being a general guiding light that they then follow. Not that she is the one controlling the morality of the show, but giving the kids that gentle push in the right direction. It is so the opposite of other adults outside of Queen Sensei, who are generally just awful people. But another important aspect is that this begins with Seiko guiding Gigi by telling him to essentially meditate and straighten his back so that he becomes immovable. This reminds me a lot of Buddhist rituals and Shiro Emiya from Fate Stay Night, who would do this a lot, but it also really makes me want to try doing this in real life too, not gonna lie. Not only just because it would be cool to see if, yeah, are you really that hard to move, but also I think it would probably help me out a bit. I'm like Asa Mitaka over here living in my head constantly. I think overall, though, this entire first act of the episode was so good, not just because of the performance, but because it really did a fantastic job fleshing out Gigi's role in the group and just how much these kids and Seiko are trying to help support one another. It was really touching and made me reflect a bit on my own role in my own friend groups. That is honestly what I love about this series. It makes you reflect on yourself and gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling in your heart when you watch it, doesn't it? Either that or I'm having a heart attack. Either is preferred at this stage. And we see the sacrifice everyone is going through because of their decision to help Gigi. Okarun has lost his ability to have a good night's sleep because he has to be awake and walk him to the bathroom to make sure he doesn't go evil eye and destroy everything again. And I also love the visual representation of the destroyed house to show that it is, well, a wild scenario, but also just, I don't know, it's heartwarming. It shows how much they've sacrificed. They would rather live in a destroyed house than toss out Gigi or Evil Eye. And Okarun even tells Gigi that when he feels bad that he should focus instead, on growing, getting stronger, and doing his best to support the others in their family. Because as Okarun so brilliantly points out, it was the same for him when he was taken over by Turbo Granny. But they found a way through it together, and he was so gracious of Seiko's help. And just also, did I mention Seiko is the best? Did I mention that? Anyways, this is why I asked earlier if Seiko's role is a moral compass for the kids, because Okarun flat out says that he wants to be like Seiko and impress her while trying his best to be like her. Which is interesting because Seiko so far, she hasn't freaked out about the house in this episode. And when Gigi begs them to stop the ritual, Seiko stops on the spot and shuts down everything. I hope that when I am 902, like Seiko, that I'm like this, because this takes so much self-reflection and willpower to not just tell Gigi this is for the best and exercise Evil Eye anyways. Like, Jesus, the restraint on this woman to not just tell every single one of these dum-de-dums how it is, that's something I wish I could do myself. But Seiko, man, she's a calm one. Even when her house is just leveled, she shows that wise restraint to not beat some asses. The next morning, we see Ira do herself up, which is not what I was expecting. It really does show through context that she is probably the only dum-de-dum so far who really cares this much about her appearance. The second closest is probably Momo, but Ira definitely takes the cake. This is pretty neat because while she is self-centered, it also shows that she takes care of herself too. I like that. It shows that there is always a positive angle on the most toxic of personality tropes. I guess that is to say it isn't all bad for Ira. Maybe she's just a misunderstood, brain-dead idiot. Maybe you guys are stupid goobers for hating her and should face legal action. Maybe I'll sue every single one of you, huh? You like that? You like it? Really, this moment was to convey the sense of a happy family with all of the clashing personalities and generally just how chaotic things are. I loved it when Momo and Ira just clashed over the rice, which she was more than happy to give Okarun, but refused to give Momo any. It's super cute, but also the picture of a happy family and a normal family, especially when Gigi sees them off and showers them with the happiest words he can innocently shout while Momo and Ira continue to feud. And, it is Okarun who understands in this moment, seeing everything that is happening. He's happy, and that is something that is good for all of them. Then, at school, Momo, hanging out with the girls, decides that she's grown up and changed her immature ways of being flaky with part-time jobs. She wants to fix up the house and is going to do so by working part-time in a maid cafe, which Okarun gets to see firsthand and also embarrasses Momo like big time. Yet again, this episode kept the core central theme of support through family. Momo is getting a job to help repair the house because it is cold and that is where everyone lives. And Momo's friends bring Okarun along so that he can be a good boyfriend and support Momo. He's super cute and wholesome. I think this episode in particular had such a strong script. It also had a great setup and resolution. I think this may be one of the better episodes of the series overall. Yeah, this is another week in a row where I say this, but it is true, god damn it. Also, I gotta say, I love her design, y'all. Not just class prez either. Momo's maid era is just so damn goated, and I cannot wait to see the next episode for the legendary line to end all one-liners. Oh, you will love it. What did you think about this episode, though? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, then would you kindly drop a like, subscribe, and comment a blue heart to let me know you made it to the end. Check out the video on the screen here, and on the right is a link to my weekly Dandadan manga channel where I cover new chapters weekly. Make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.